Alright guys, welcome to the channel. If you're watching this, you probably already know this is the first video on this channel. But right now I'm just going to explain what we got going on here. I did most of the hard work already, so that part is taken care of. But I'll just explain what I did real quick. Okay, so first thing I had to do was I had to get some manifolds for this, because General Motors, Holley, Edelbrock don't make a turbocharged manifold setup for this engine. So I took this off of a 2000 Pontiac Grand Am, flipped it around, ran the crossover pipe over to the other manifold over here, which is actually the stock manifold just flipped around. Then I had to weld these two pipes together and into my Volvo turbo. And of course, oil lines are all hooked up. That's just some cheap fittings I got from my local hardware store. Seems to work pretty good. And this is a throttle body, fuel injected. So one of the biggest issues I had to deal with was relocating the alternator and the power steering pump, and of course making my own tensioner. So basically where we're at now is we're almost ready to start this thing up. I just have to fix a couple other little things. Okay, so I've got all that stuff taken care of for the most part. I got the wires put back on in the firing order. I got some things pulled up out of the way. This is not pretty, it's not perfect, but we're just going to see if it'll run. And I want to hear that turbo spool. You're noticing I'm not running the belt yet. And that's because the alternator needs a secondary bracket on the back. And I want to get some materials and stuff and build it right. So we're just going to run it without the belt for a minute. Obviously it's not going to have any coolant in it. I mean, it's 25 degrees right now, so it'll run for a little bit this way. And I got oil line hooked up. This is the return side. This is really just a temporary thing, so we can just get it started. And yeah, so basically we should be ready to start it. I'm gonna go grab a battery, stick it in, got some tools cleaned off, and you guys are probably wondering what kind of rig this is. And there it is. Let me go ahead and shut the hood for you guys. Yeah, good enough. So this is my 1988 Isuzu pup, and it's originally came with a 4-cylinder and a 5-speed, and I got it with a bad motor, pulled that motor out, pulled the fuel injection harness out, pulled the transmission out, and I swapped in a GM 2.8 out of a 90 Trooper. Did all the fuel injection wiring harness, so it's all factory Isuzu. And it's a little messy in here, but it's got an automatic in it. And like I said, this thing is far from being done. Right now it's just parked it for the winter so I could do this project. And we'll get it all cleaned back up again. Not a big deal. But I'll go over and grab that battery, we'll stick it in and see what the hell we can do with this thing. So, back again, like an hour and a half later. Got the battery put it in, and I did start it for a second, and the turbo wasn't spooling. So, I ended up having to take this manifold off, and I put the gasket on it. And then I tightened up the turbo a little bit more. But you guys are ready to hear this run. Let's go ahead and listen to a run. This is a GM 2.8. Got the old air fuel ratio gauge right there. It's not going to be accurate because the O2 is not hooked up. But but it's spooling. Sounds pretty good. Let me if I can find it. There's no coolant in it either, so we gotta make this quick. Hold on, put you guys around. And it's probably getting hot. Oh no, hasn't even came off cold. Well, there you go. So I think on the next video we'll go ahead and build the intake side, cold side, and get it ran over to here. I have an idea of getting this hooked up right. And we'll fix this to where it doesn't leak. Go ahead and throw the gasket on over here. And I'll put the belt back on, make the bracket for the alternator. Stick the coolant lines back on and top her off with coolant. And then, hopefully, we'll run the exhaust out of right here. I'm going to dump it. I don't know if you can see. We're gonna dump it right down there. And you guys are probably upside down for like ever there for a second, but yeah, and then this, I'm gonna pop that out, which I've already had it out. It should come out pretty easy now. And I'm gonna get an adapter for my O2, and I'm gonna run my O2 right there. And then I should be able to get a pretty decent reading off the air fuel ratio gauge. And then once that's done, I already got exhaust ran all the way down there. You just got to tie back in with the original. And we should be good to go. Should be able to take this thing on a test spin. So, like, share, and subscribe if you want to, if you like what I'm doing. Alright, bye. Back again here. So, you probably noticed in my video that I've been working right next to this little gem right here. And she's a diamond in the rough, but if you guys really like what I'm doing, hit that like button and subscribe, because I'm probably going to be starting this next after this truck is out of here. And I'm going to move it over to where this truck's at and get it finished, because this is actually probably going to spend most of the summer in the back of this truck, and I'm going to take it up onto the state land and drive it around. But this is a 72 Honda Odyssey that I bought for 25 bucks. And the motor is a 71 Articat 340, and I'm running basically the snowmobile drive off of that. But anyways, this is going to be a future project, so if you guys like my channel, stick around, you might be able to see this.